The falsification of history has done more to impede human development than any one thing known to mankind. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. The Rosetta Stone is often celebrated as the cornerstone of modern Egyptology. Discovered in 1799 by French soldiers during Napoleon's campaign in Egypt, it is credited with unlocking the secrets of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs through its trilingual inscriptions: Greek, Demotic, and hieroglyphic. Scholars, led by Jean-François Champollion, claimed to have deciphered the enigmatic glyphs of the pharaohs, offering humanity a window into one of the world's oldest civilizations. But what if this foundation is built on a lie? Hard evidence points to a troubling conclusion. The Rosetta Stone may be a forgery, designed not to reveal the truth, but to obscure it. Its shallow, inconsistent carvings, dubious discovery, and reliance on European linguistic frameworks all suggest manipulation. And this is not an isolated case. Like, subscribe, and comment to stay connected. Other artifacts, like the infamous cartouche of Khufu in the Great Pyramid, point to a broader pattern of fabricated Egyptian history, orchestrated to serve colonial and intellectual agendas. This video lays out the evidence that the Rosetta Stone is fake, and with it, the translations and assumptions that underpin modern Egyptology. The implications are staggering. If the Rosetta Stone is a fabrication, the entire narrative of ancient Egypt as we know it may have been deliberately distorted, hiding deeper truths about human origins, advanced civilizations, and the manipulation of history itself. The story of the Rosetta Stone begins in 1799, during a period of fierce colonial competition. Napoleon Bonaparte's forces, eager to assert intellectual dominance over the British, claimed to have discovered the stone in the village of Rosetta. The artifact, dating to 196 BCE, allegedly contained a decree issued in Memphis during the reign of Ptolemy V. However, a closer inspection reveals glaring inconsistencies. 1. Shallow and inconsistent carvings. Unlike the deeply incised and artistically confident hieroglyphs found on temple walls, the Rosetta Stone's hieroglyphs are shallow, uneven, and lack the craftsmanship typical of genuine Egyptian artifacts. This raises questions about whether the stone was hastily created in modern times. 2. Greek text priority. The Greek inscription is far more prominent and deeply etched than the other scripts. This suggests the artifact may have been designed to cater specifically to European scholars familiar with Greek, ensuring they could decode the hieroglyphs with ease. 3. A convenient discovery. The timing of the Rosetta Stone's discovery is suspect. It appeared during Napoleon's Egyptian campaign, a colonial endeavor aimed at asserting French cultural superiority. The stone provided a symbolic and intellectual victory for France, conveniently aligning with European desires to dominate ancient narratives. Jean-François Champollion, hailed as the father of Egyptology, claimed to have deciphered hieroglyphs by comparing the Greek text on the Rosetta Stone with its hieroglyphic counterpart. His methodology has long been celebrated, but alternative scholars have highlighted critical flaws. 1. Greek, specifically Coptic, derived from Greek influence over Egyptian glyphs. Champollion imposed Greek linguistic structures onto the hieroglyphs, forcing them to fit phonetic patterns that align with Western alphabets. However, ancient Egyptian writing is a ideographic system, conveying complex meanings beyond phonetics. Each glyph has a specific meaning, conveying a story that is summarized by that glyph. It is apparent that the authors of the Egyptian hieroglyphs knew that a picture or ideogram is worth 1,000 words and is an extremely efficient method of communicating a narrative. To overlay complex phonetic and grammatical rules used by modern confusing languages is to completely shroud their truth. The meanings behind the glyphs can be found in various ciphers that are displayed within the many temples that have been discovered, as well as those yet to be discovered. Understanding how to read the glyphs can be achieved by an illiterate 8-year-old and does not need the honorarium of PhDs or doctorates. They were designed that way. Just like when we sent Voyager craft out aimlessly into the cosmos, armed with their golden radioactive records. They were designed by Carl Sagan and others so that the, quote, aliens did not need to understand language to decode them. Are we saying we're smarter than the hieroglyph authors? Are we being egotistically driven to shun these ancient peoples into intellectual categorization just above Neanderthals? Have we swooned to our intellectual masters and now walk around repeating their monarchical dribble? Stories full of holes that don't make sense, don't fit with the artifacts, and confuse the bejesus out of any thinking person. Let's look harder, shall we? 2. Over-reliance on the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone was treated as a Rosetta Code, an infallible guide to hieroglyphic writing. But its inconsistencies and the dubious circumstances of its discovery cast doubt on its authenticity. Champollion's entire framework is built on a potentially fabricated artifact. 3. Supporting texts like the Canopus Decree. Other trilingual inscriptions, such as the Canopus Decree, have been cited to validate Champollion's translations. However, these texts suffer from similar issues: shallow carvings, inconsistent alignment, and suspicious origins, suggesting they may too have been manipulated to fit colonial narratives. The Rosetta Stone is not the only instance of Egyptian forgery. The infamous cartouche of Pharaoh Khufu, discovered in the Great Pyramid of Giza, provides another glaring example. First, let's talk about the poor placement and execution. The cartouche was painted inside a chamber, deep within the pyramid, supposedly marking it as Khufu's burial site. However, its clumsy placement and amateurish execution suggest it was added much later, likely during the 19th century by Colonel Howard Weiss's team. Now, consider the paint drips that reveal the truth. The cartouche includes paint drips that flow downward, yet the name is sideways, indicating it was painted while the stone was already in place inside the pyramid and not at the supposed quarry. This directly contradicts the narrative that the cartouche was inscribed during the pyramid's construction, prior to the stone's placement. Then we arrive at the papyrus of Merer. Zahi Hawass, the Egyptian archaeologist and formerly the chief inspector of the pyramid site and minister of antiquities, says that it is the greatest discovery in Egypt in the 21st century. Yet, even the discoverer of these papyrus admits there is no mention of the pyramids in the texts, and that's using Champollion's erroneous translations. None of the evidence stacks up, not in the slightest, by any objective measure. Finally, let's discuss the motives for Forgery. Just as the Rosetta Stone was created to decode hieroglyphs, Khufu's cartouche conveniently tied the Great Pyramid to a known pharaoh, erasing the possibility that it predates dynastic Egypt or was built by a more advanced civilization. If the Rosetta Stone is fake and Khufu's cartouche is a forgery, the consequences are profound. This isn't just about a few fabricated artifacts. It's about the systematic rewriting of history. Firstly, a colonial agenda comes into play. The Rosetta Stone and similar artifacts were tools of colonial powers used to assert dominance over ancient cultures. By decoding Egyptian hieroglyphs, European scholars claimed intellectual superiority and dismissed indigenous knowledge. Secondly, we must consider the obscuring of advanced knowledge. Hieroglyphs, far from being primitive writing, encode advanced scientific, spiritual, and cosmic knowledge. This knowledge has the power to project our own civilization into a state of spiritual techno-advancement, leaving behind wars, poverty, hunger, and the displacement of people that we see all around us and mostly try to avoid, the homeless. By mistranslating these texts, modern Egyptology unknowingly obscures their true purpose, significance, and power to propel us forward. Perhaps this alone is a good enough reason for the ruling elite to suppress the truth. It wouldn't be the first time we have encountered that idea. And lastly, there's the suppression of alternative narratives. Fabrications like the Rosetta Stone and Khufu's cartouche reinforce a linear view of history, dismissing evidence of older, more advanced civilizations. This keeps humanity focused on a narrow narrative, preventing us from exploring deeper truths about our origins. Why would anyone go to such lengths to forge artifacts and manipulate history? The answer lies in control. Controlling history means controlling the present and the future. After all, it is the victor who writes history, according to Winston Churchill. Did he give us a glimpse of the truth there? Firstly, there's intellectual gatekeeping. By fabricating key artifacts, elites ensured that only a narrow, approved version of history was taught and accepted. This prevents humanity from accessing ancient knowledge that could challenge modern power structures. Secondly, let's talk about dismissing indigenous knowledge. Egyptian priests and oral traditions seem to hold the real keys to understanding hieroglyphs. Yet, there aren't any left who know how to read them, even if those in Napoleon's time did know. By prioritizing European translations, these voices were silenced, ensuring that only Western narratives prevailed. Lastly, maintaining the illusion of progress is crucial. A fabricated history reinforces the idea that modern civilization is the pinnacle of human achievement, erasing evidence that ancient societies may have been more advanced in ways we cannot yet comprehend. The evidence is clear. The Rosetta Stone, with its shallow carvings and convenient discovery, is likely a colonial-era forgery. Khufu's cartouche, poorly painted and riddled with errors, is another example of historical fabrication. Together, these deceptions form the foundation of a false narrative about ancient Egypt. This isn't just about rewriting history, it's about reclaiming it. By exposing these lies, we can begin to uncover the deeper truths hidden beneath the sands of time. What ancient knowledge has been suppressed? What secrets do hieroglyphs truly hold? Well, We've begun to uncover these, and they are mind-blowing. And most importantly, what does this manipulation of history reveal about the powers that seek to control us? The Rosetta Stone is not the key to understanding Egypt. It is the lock that has kept the truth hidden. It's time to break that lock and rediscover the real history of humanity. Like, subscribe and comment to join this conversation of discovery. Thanks for being here.